So the Fever draft Michaela Timpson and Bree Hall. Will they make the team? That's the question. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. I'm Mark.
And I'm Rob.
So, hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next video. Join us for Kate and Clark's crossover. We're talking about the WNBA draft on Thursday night. Rob will be there along with Rich Latta. And on Monday nights, it's 6 to 7. Thursday, it's 5:30, 6:30. It's Eastern time, except for major holidays. And we talk about Kate and Clark and all sorts of good stuff. Join us for that. So the WNBA draft took place. We went over the general. Rob, this is their current roster. They have 10 people on the roster officially. And then Jillian Alleyne, Alleyyene, she's from Europe. She played at Oregon, but right now she's over at Europe. And Jaylen Brown are on camp contracts, which means they don't have to pay them if they don't make the team. So they're not really on the team. So they got 2 spots, but they really only have 1.5 spots. They got 1 spot because they have $112,000 in their salary cap and a minimum salary $66,000. So at the most they have $46,000 left over, which means the best they can do is add one of those players plus the 3 picks. There's 3 draft picks they have. So one of those 5 players will make the team. Another player they can add a third of the way through the season because they can prorate their salary so that $46,000 becomes a whole salary after a third of the way through the season. So you look at it this way, essentially 2 people could make the team if they can wait 15 games into the season or whatever it is, and then they can make the team. So essentially 2 could make the team. But you got 5 people. You got Jaylen Brown, and then they got the 3 draft picks. Here's who they picked first. Michaela Timpson. I didn't even know about her. I guess I saw her play because I saw Florida State play a couple times this year. She didn't stand out to me because I didn't notice her, but that's what she plays for Florida State. She's 6'2", and she's supposedly a double-double machine, just like Angel Reese. Became a more confident offensive player. She also blocked the 4th most shots in the country, which may be her greatest professional asset. Post-draft analysis, after losing Temi Fegbenli to Golden State in the expansion draft, the Fever needed a rim protector who can score at the rim. Timpson is a perfect fit. She runs the floor well, too, something Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are sure to embrace. That's from Charlie Cream, who works for ESPN. So in the next pick after that was Bree Hall, who everybody knows plays for South Carolina, who's a very good on-ball defender, but doesn't have really much of an offensive game. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Jim from Gonzaga. I don't know anything about her, but she's not going to make the team anyway.
She was leading scorer. She broke the records.
For some reason, the Fever decided to draft Bree Hall instead of an available point guard who led the country in assists, Serena Sundell. I've never seen her play, but she's also 6'2" point guard. So people thought that's who they were going to. Jillian, she said she's so good that Jaylen Brown or any of the 3 draft picks aren't going to make the team, at least for the initial draft pick, because only one's going to make the team initially. And then in his video yesterday, Rob, he said just the opposite. He said that, which is not a surprise because he always changes his mind. He said this woman, Michaela Timpson, is going to make the team. So I don't know. I haven't seen either one of them play. What do I know? But only one's going to make the team out of the 5. And a second one's probably going to make the team a third of the way through the season. So
do you think, Mark? So with, like you said, only a third of these players make the team. Do you think they should go the route of the WNBA and have a minor league or a little league for these players to develop? Because I mean, otherwise they're just going to be either they go over to Europe or they're just going to be sitting around.
Well,
I mean, like you said, I mean, until 15 games they can't really add anybody. So I think they should kind of. I mean, they have enough players. They have enough players to form like this little G League team, like the NBA does.
Well, Rob, Chicks Dig Scar podcast did a video on this and said, I don't think. He says after 2 years, I think they're going to run out of money. Is what he said. Now they're claiming they almost made money last year, so I don't know if it's true or not. But that he doesn't think Unrivaled is going to last, and he thinks they should just turn that into a developmental league. And I think it's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
And I also said that's what I think they should do, and they should go to 60 games. And you all disagree with me, said women can't play 60 games, but women I've spoken to said they can. So we'll see what happens. I think they're going to eventually pay 60 games. I think you're all going to be wrong. And they're going to eventually pay 60 games, and they're not going to go overseas anymore. But they have to make a profit to do that. So we'll find out. I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that only one person makes the initial roster. And I don't think it's going to be Bree Hall, this person Gonzaga, Yvonne. I don't think it's going to be her. So we'll find out. Jaylen Brown looks good in the highlights, but her stats over in Europe on a league that's not that strong supposedly are like small. So how is she going to make the team? She obviously, if she was better, she'd put up some stats. So she looks good in highlights. She looks athletic. But here's my problem, Rob, is why they picked Bree Hall, who's not a point guard. Serena Sundell, she might never make it in WNBA. I don't know. She was supposed to go in the top 16. She was invited, but she didn't go till she was 26 in the draft. So there must be some hesitation because of her, because I didn't see her play, and neither did a lot of other people, because she played for Kansas State in the Big 12, and a lot of people didn't see her play. But my problem is, Rob, is that they only have 2 point guards on the roster, the Fever, and one was 35 years old. What if Sydney Colson gets hurt, Rob? She's 35 years old. I have no backup point guard. So why not draft Serena Sundell and then make her the player that comes in a third of the way through the season, so you have a backup point guard, and then you have a young point guard for the future if Colson gets injured or old or they don't sign her again. But they don't like young point guards apparently at the Fever, Rob, because they wouldn't keep Grace Berger, even though she seems to have some talent and good size and was versatile. She could play the 1 or the 2. I don't know. The Fever doesn't like young point guards, Rob, apparently.
My question is now, so can you store these players you drafted? Where do you do? Like, do you just store them away? Can someone take their drafts away? What do they do with these players?
I don't know. All I know is they could say to them, listen, you can do whatever you want, but we're going to re-sign you in 15 games as soon as the proration cuts in and we have $46,000 to give you. They could say that to a player, and the player could just wait for 15 games.
Okay.
They still, just because you didn't sign them doesn't mean another team can't pick them up once they don't make the roster. But the player could just say, no, I'm waiting for the Fever. Maybe they like the Fever. I would like to play for the Fever. In fact, if I was a young point guard, I would want to be on the Fever, knowing that Sydney Colson is on a 1-year contract and is 35 years old.
Right, because you step right in.
It might never start, but I may get 8 minutes a game for the rest of my career on a championship team.
Right.
I don't know. It's not such a bad life.
No, not really.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah, maybe if I thought it was really, really good and I'd want a chance of starting, I wouldn't do that. But if this woman didn't get drafted, Sundell didn't get drafted till number 26, is she really, really that good that she's going to be a WNBA starter someday? I have no idea.
Well, Olsen out of Iowa, she got drafted by the Mystics. She was 23rd.
Yeah, that's another player, Rob. She's better than Bree Hall for potential WNBA player, in my opinion. Even though she's not as good a defender, Bree Hall is a very good on-ball defender, as you probably know, you being a defensive specialist. But she never really stood out to me when I watched South Carolina play. But at least I've seen her play, and I can judge her. But she is a good all-around player, but nothing. I don't even see her as a starter in the WNBA. She may make it in the WNBA.
Like a shooter. Connor is a shooting guard. She can shoot the threes, whatever, but
she's not that good a scorer. She can't create her own shot or anything like that. Lucy Olsen can create her own shot. That's why I think she'll make it in the WNBA, because the number of women who can create their own shot in the WNBA is small.
Very rare.
That's the difference. But she is not as good a defender as Bree Hall. So we'll find that much I know. I've seen them both play. So this other woman, Yvonne, I don't know anything about her. I don't know anything about the woman in Europe.
She averaged like 20 points a game.
Yeah, for not a very strong team, right? So,
well, Gonzaga, they finally made to the play to the Sweet 16. So,
okay. I didn't know how far they went. Like, I did not know that. So, I have no idea what's going to happen. All I can tell you is they have 1.5 players that can make the team. 1 2/3.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be,
I guess Simpsons might make the team, which is kind of surprising, Rob, because when I saw they didn't have a first-round pick, and I saw they kept, had camp contracts with players that they thought were decent, I wasn't sure whether anyone in the second or third round was going to make the team. But now it looks like Timpson may make the team. All right, let all you geniuses watching this video, let us know what you think down below in terms of how the Fever did and didn't do. So,
Or
I
is it
was
really going
surprised.
to? I mean, or is it really going to matter? These draft choices, like the Fever, that's why they didn't want to be in the first round. They sacrificed that. Are these picks really going to matter?
I don't know if I'm right, but I will say, Rob, I don't think the Fever's draft picks are that big a deal for the rest of Caitlin Clark's career, because I think more people are going to want to play for the Fever than any team in WNBA history. Now, of course, you don't want all 35-year-old players. They got a 35-year-old who's backup point guard. They got a 37-year-old who's probably going to start. I get that. But if you can just keep signing new free agents every year that could be in their prime if they want to play for Fever. Nafisa Kyler contract runs out at the end of this year, Rob. She could be in her prime and sign with the Fever next year. That could happen for the next 12 years if Caitlin Clark becomes a dominant player and makes her teammates better, like I think she will, even more so than she's doing now. And she's going to become
She already does. She's already proven that. And that's like what I said. That's the attraction. If you're like Collier, you're like, hey, I'm going to get the ball. I think the All-Star game. I mean, the players they played against Caitlin Clark during the year, but I think the All-Star game really was an introduction to all the players and a lot of people too who've never seen Caitlin Clark play really, or play against her or with her. They're like, whoa, she's. I would love to play. Like I said, I'd love to play with her.
Now, maybe if you're the second best player in the league, let's say Caitlin Clark becomes the best player in the league this year. Maybe if you're the second or third best player in the league, you want to beat that person. Fine. They might not sign with them, but that doesn't mean the fourth or fifth best player won't sign with her, and the sixth best player won't sign with her.
Right.
Who knows? We'll see what happens. If he's a Kyler, she may get frustrated. Let's say they lose a tight series to the Fever this year, and she loses in the finals 2 years in a row. She may play, pull Kevin Durant or
I was going to say, she's going to put Kevin Durant and go with she's going to put Kevin Durant and go with
that. Rob, that may happen. That may happen. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying the Fever will always, they have a good organization now. They have a better general manager. They have a better coach. There's no reason to think that this organization will not be a star organization for the next 12 years as long as Caitlin Clark is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think draft picks are going to be that big a deal for the Fever. I'm not saying they're meaningless. Don't twist it around what I'm saying. A first-round draft pick is still a first-round draft pick. But if they're winning championships, Rob, they're not going to get a pick until they're going to have 16 teams in this league in 3 years. So you're going to have 2 more teams next year. So first-round draft pick is already, but it's going to be a 15th pick starting next year.
That's a good point, Mark.
You're a championship. If you won the championship, you're the best record.
That's a good point, Mark, because, I mean, if you keep on winning and winning, you're not going to be able to get that. I mean, like you get other players coming out, Betts and Johnson from LSU coming out next year. You're not going to get those players next year.
Right. Well, let's say, Rob, if the young players coming up are as talented worldwide as you think they are, then a 15th pick may be a good player. But right now, I don't think a 15th pick is that strong.
It's so hard. I mean, I'm building up women's basketball, and it's going to be better. They got, like I said, the sophomore class, and then freshman class is pretty good, and the class coming in looks really good. But like we said, they're that good to a point. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 players are standout, definite number 1 rounds. But then after that, it kind of fades down, unfortunately, in women's basketball. The talent kind of drops down after that.
I mean, look at last year. That was a strong draft. And after Angel Reese at 7, really? So we'll see. We'll see. Let us know what you think down below. Maybe you see something that we don't see. I don't know. We'll find out. So I didn't think the draft was that important for them. I think they're going after veterans, and as long as the veterans aren't too old, I'm cool with that. That's my concern is that they only have 2 point guards, and one of them's 35 years old. And the other one, the league likes to hack and not call fouls. So they're allowed to do it continually against her. So I'm concerned that one of them is going to get hurt. And even if Caitlin Clark misses 10 games, that's still a lot of games, Rob. That could really affect what place they come in the league.
Right.
So we'll find out. I don't know who's going to play point guard if one of them gets injured. So anyways, so that's why I like Sundell is a good pick. But I like keeping Grace Berger if they could. But they probably did Grace Berger a favor, though. Let's be honest. give her a chance to shine someplace since they were going to take Colson anyways. I do know that some people made the argument they didn't trust Grace Berger in a playoff situation because she's never been there before, and that's why Colson was the right pick. Other people said, no, you need a young point guard, and she would have gotten better if you just gave her playing time this year and let her develop, and she'd be there for you for the next number of years. I don't know what's right, but I do know that that's the two arguments for each one, and you can make the same argument for Sundell. And so, anyways, let us know what you think down below. If you like this video, share it with your family, friends, and acquaintances. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell when you do so you get notified of our next video. And we'll discuss this on Thursday night. Rob will be there 5:30, 6:30 with Rich Latta, guest podcaster. And we also have Kate and Clark's crossover on Mondays from 6 to 7. We just had Robin Lundberg. It was a cool show last night. And it's Eastern time except for major holidays. And we talk about all sorts of stuff like Kate and Clark and things related to that. If you want to donate to this channel, you can with super chats and super thanks down below. There's a link to PayPal. We'll see you in the next video.
Peace out.